When I first set foot in America, I was not the man you see now. Today, some may call me a foreman, a mentor, even a leader. But back then, I was just John, a new immigrant with a head full of dreams and a pocket almost empty. The first barrier I faced was not wire, not conduit, not even voltage. It was words, English words. If I wanted to survive here, if I wanted to become an electrician, the first thing I needed to master was the language of this land. And so, I walked into an ESL classroom at the local adult school. It felt like stepping into a martial arts sect as an outer disciple. Everyone there was from different places: Mexico, Vietnam, Ethiopia, China, and beyond. We all shared the same uncertainty, but in our eyes burned the same spark of determination. At first, English sounded like thunder crashing in my ears. The teacher said, "Repeat after me, Apple." I proudly shouted, "Apu." The class burst into laughter, and my face turned red. But instead of shame, I felt a spark ignite. Their laughter was fuel. Day by day, I drilled pronunciation, copied vocabulary, battled grammar. In those days, words like hello, good morning, and how are you were like magic spells. Each correct word unlocked a door. Step by step, my tongue grew sharper, my ears clearer, my confidence steadier. Eventually, I advanced into higher-level English. It was like being invited into the inner hall of the sect. The words grew harder. Opportunity, responsibility, determination. Not just words principles for survival in America. Teachers pushed us to write essays, to debate, to stand in front of everyone and speak. I was terrified. My hands shook, my voice cracked. But I remembered my father's advice. When you are afraid, speak as if you already know victory is yours. So I forced myself forward. By the end of that class, I was no longer hiding. I was standing tall. The language gate had opened, and beyond it lay the real battlefield, the trade school, the hall of electricians. That first day, I entered the electrical classroom. This was not like ESL. No chalk dust, no simple greetings. Instead, ladders leaned against walls. Spools of copper wire glinted like coiled snakes. Toolboxes lined the tables like weapons ready for battle. The smell of sawdust and steel filled the air. My heart pounded. This was it, the beginning of my new life. Our instructor, Mr. Harris, was a veteran electrician, his eyes sharp as lightning. He looked at us and said, "You are here to learn a trade that builds cities, lights, homes, and saves lives. But remember, electricity does not forgive mistakes. Safety is not a suggestion. It is survival." Those words struck harder than any grammar lesson. Safety, respect, responsibility. The foundation of everything. He handed us our first treasure's protective gear. Gloves, safety glasses, a hard hat. I held them awkwardly, thinking, do I really need these just to measure pipes? Harris's voice cut through my doubts. Even the simplest task can kill. Wear them always. Right. That day the vocabulary rained down like secret techniques of cultivation. Gloves, safety glasses, hard hat, pliers, screwdriver, measuring tape, hacksaw, conduit bender, voltage tester, wire stripper. Each tool was more than just a name it, carried a story. Harris told us of workers who had cut wire with the wrong tool and ended up scarred. He showed us how to test a wire with a voltage tester, warning again, never trust a wire. Always verify. Electricity is invisible, but deadly. Then came my first mistake. I reached toward a wire sticking out of a junction box, ready to move it aside. "Stop," Harris thundered. I froze. He placed the tester on the wire. The screen lit up live current. My stomach dropped. My life had nearly ended before it began. That fear etched itself into my bones. But so did the lesson. Never assume. Always verify. The class didn't stop. We drilled vocabulary like spells of survival, circuit, breaker, fuse, panel, outlet, conduit, insulation, resistance, current, voltage, power. Each term was explained in simple English, then tested. I scribbled notes furiously as if engraving techniques into my cultivation manual. At one point, Harris pointed at me. "John, what is the right tool for cutting conduit?" My mind raced. I blurted, saw. The class chuckled. Harris shook his head. Not just any saw, the hacksaw. Remember this? Sharp is not enough. Right tool, right result. Another time he asked, "What do you wear before handling tools?" "Nervous," I shouted. "Shoes?" The class roared with laughter. Harris raised his eyebrows. "Shoes are good, but you also need gloves, glasses, and a hard hat. Protect yourself. Your family wants you home every night." Even in my embarrassment, I felt a strange joy. Each mistake was like failing a practice duel, but gaining experience. With every correction, my cultivation grew. The day ended with a quiz, not just a test of memory, but of survival. Harris asked 3 simple questions. "What is the rule about wires?" I answered. "Always test before touching." "What is the right tool for cutting conduit?" "Hacksaw." "What protects your eyes?" "Safety glasses." Each correct answer was like passing a gatekeeper. Small victories, but victories nonetheless. Walking home that night, the city lights shimmered like stars of destiny. My backpack was heavy with books, my mind heavier with new words, but my heart was light. I realized I wasn't just learning tools and wires. I was building something bigger. Discipline, responsibility, survival. This was more than a trade, it was a path. It's a path of an electrician, the path of a cultivator. That night, I looked at my gloves, my glasses, my hard hat, the humble treasures of an apprentice. They weren't just equipment. They were my first cultivation artifacts. And deep down, I knew this was just the beginning. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, new dangers, new words. But today, I had taken my first true step. From ESL outsider to apprentice electrician, from laughter at mispronounced words to standing before live wires. This was the day I began to cultivate my path in America.